Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulihil Kareem. To all the honorable guests of Allah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah, Allah has provided us with the opportunity of praying Isha Salah and Jama'ah. And now He has blessed us with the opportunity of listening to our esteemed and honorable guest, Maulana Asif Uddin, on his presentation on a guide to a healthy and balanced fast. Inshallah, after the sunnah, adhkar and witr, I would ask all the brothers to move forward and come closer to the mic, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. If there are any brothers who cannot attend the event, the QR code is on screen right now. You can scan it and join the YouTube broadcast and share it to your friends and family, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Additionally, inshallah, tomorrow we'll be continuing with our weekly Team Fajr program with Salatul Fajr at 5:45, followed by our Dars and Tazkiyah, which will be followed by our community breakfast, inshallah.
Brothers, if we can begin entering the masjid and coming closer to the mic, inshallah, I would like to introduce Hafiz Umar Chaudhry. He is a Tanweer student and my classmate, inshallah. He will begin with the recitation of the Quran, inshallah. Please, brothers, if you're in the lobby, please enter the masjid, come closer to the mic. Inshallah, we can get started. Inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون أحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم وعفى عنكم فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل ولا تباشروهن وأنتم عاكفون في المساجد تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوها كذلك يبين الله آياته للناس لعلهم يتقون صدق الله العظيم.
Takbir. Takbir. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Right now, I would like to begin with a short introduction from Maulana Asif Uddin. MashaAllah, he completed his Hifdh al-Quran in Islamic Education, Islamic Institute of Education in Elgin at the age of 14. He then went on to complete his Alamiya program in the year 2012 at the age of 21. He then went to continue on in his undergraduate education in Benedictine University, and then after that began to teach at various public schools. He has also received many ijazats in the various modes of Quran recitation, and he has also received his health education from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, where he studied a variety of dietary theories and practical lifestyle coaching methods. With that, I would like to begin the program and invite Maulana Asif Uddin to the stage, inshallah. I would again encourage the brothers to come closer to the mic so we can sit closer to the speaker, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. MashaAllah, it's an honor to be here. I would like to thank first DarusSalam and everybody involved, from the scholars to the volunteers to the board, everybody involved, Musallis here, MashaAllah, for giving me the opportunity to come and to speak to you all. Mike, when I asked the brother how long I can speak, he didn't respond, so I'm assuming I can go till Fajr, huh? We're preparing for Ramadan, right? We're preparing. Okay. Now, when you start falling asleep, I promise, so I'll close it. Okay. Oops. Okay. Okay. So the title that I was assigned is a Guide to Healthy and Balanced Fast. Now, as Muslims, alhamdulillah, when we think of the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, we don't just hone in and specify one aspect of it. Though, alhamdulillah, I'm taking care of my salah, everything else will be taken care of. Or alhamdulillah, I'm taking care of my zakat, I don't need to do anything else, that'll be taken care of. Or alhamdulillah, I'm taking care of my fasting in Ramadan, alhamdulillah, that's good enough, I don't need to do anything else. Everything else will be taken care of, inshallah. No, that's not the mentality we have as Muslims. We look at our deen in a holistic manner. Every aspect of it is important. And the same thing applies to health. We look at it in a holistic manner. So when it comes to our health, at Integrative Shifa, we divide our nourishment into two types of foods. Number one are those foods that impact our health that are off the plate, what we call primary foods. And you see some of them are on this circle. The most important of them of all is obviously our spirituality and our Islam. But there are many things that impact our health before we even get to the food that we all love to eat and enjoy. Whether it's career, whether it's finances, whether it's our relationship, physical activity, sleep, the list goes on. There are many things that impact our health besides the food on our plate. So this is what I'm going to be calling primary food throughout the talk, inshallah. Okay. The second type of food is what we're normally used to, is the secondary food, that the nourishment our body receives on the plate. Okay. So when it comes to Ramadan, or when it comes to life in general as Muslims, we want to be able to have optimal this optimal health in both these quote-unquote foods. Not just in the secondary food, not just what we eat, or let me read the ingredients, let me check if it's halal, this water here, let me check if it's good. Yeah, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. We go home and then we start swearing, or we go home and we start yelling, that defeats the whole purpose. As Muslims, we look at our health and we look at our life in a very holistic manner. So we have to take care of our primary foods and our secondary foods. So I didn't want to just talk about the food that we eat today, because then that would be doing a disservice to the whole methodology of looking at primary foods and secondary foods as a whole. So we'll start off with physical activity. And in Ramadan, mashallah, I know it's not easy, right, to have an aspect of a physical activity routine, if we like to call it. It's not easy. But this is important. This is important. There are very few things that are as important as being physically active. And it doesn't have to be, like when you were young, mashallah, or if you're young right now, I'm going to spend 2 hours at the gym, 3 hours at the gym every single day. And then when you get married, mashallah, the gut comes, huh? The gut comes. It doesn't have to be like that. Half the time when I go to the gym, the individuals, they're either on their phones, or they're talking to their friends between sets, which end up being 5 minutes, or they're talking to the opposite gender. That's usually what ends up happening. Okay, unless they're wearing their headphones and they're zoning out everything, okay, mashallah, maybe they're there for 45 minutes, 1 hour. Okay. But this aspect of physical activities is very key within our deen. And we see, and I'm going to mention a hadith and I'm going to mention certain ayat to signify this, inshallah. But just even such a small amount, like even like 7 hours, okay? 7 hours, the data shows that even 7 hours of physical activity every week, it decreases the issue of premature death by 40%. 40%, just by 7 hours. No? Big deal. No? And it doesn't have to be extremely vigorous activity where your whole shirt is drenched in sweat. No? Even if we have short bursts of 10 minutes here and there throughout the day, it can greatly increase the quality of your life. Exponentially. No? It increases energy. People think, if I work out, I'm going to be tired for work. Actually, you probably have more energy for work. People think if I work out or if I'm physically active, I won't be able to go to the masjid for salah. I won't be able to fast. I won't be able to do qiyam al-layl. I won't be able to do tahajjud. I won't be able to pray tarawih. You'll have more energy. You'll have more energy, inshallah. It's going to not only improve your energy, improve your sleep quality, which is obviously, which we'll talk about as well. It's going to improve the aspect of the quality of your sleep, how much energy and how well rested you are while you sleep. That whole recovery process when you're sleeping. Weight, everybody always asks me about weight. Okay, it's going to support that healthy weight as well. Okay, many things that physical activity has benefits in. But in the daytime, my main job is that I teach at DarusSalam, and I don't like technically to just lecture the whole time. I need to get some give and take from you all, inshallah. So let's start with the question, inshallah. So the first question that we have, first, whoever gets it right maybe can get a pakora. We can all go to Brother's house after, inshallah, and get the pakora. Okay, the question is, how many Ramadans did the Prophet ﷺ partake in? How many Ramadans did the Prophet ﷺ partake in? Let's hear some answers, inshallah. Whoever gets it wrong, we have a push-up mat over there. Do some push-ups over there. No, I'm just kidding. How many Ramadan? I mean, how many Ramadans? What do you think? Yes?
Yes,
9? Okay. 20? 20? 30? 13? 23? Let's see, Oh, mashallah, he got it, right? He got it. We're going to be going to his house for pakoras. Okay. So when we're talking about the Prophet ﷺ, and I want to make sure we get through all the aspects that we want to discuss here, not just physical activity, but the other aspects that impact our health, especially when it comes to Ramadan, inshallah. So when we talk about the Prophet ﷺ's strength, yes, he was a Nabi. Yes, he was given mu'jizat, the biggest mu'jizat being the Quran. No, but there are other mu'jizat that the Prophet ﷺ was given as well by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one is his strength. No, one is his strength. So those of you that study the Sihah Sitta, this hadith is mentioned in different variations within the books of hadith. But this narration is in Abu Dawood, which mentions that كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بالبطحاء فأتى عليه ركانة بن يزيد ومعه أعنز له فقال له يا محمد هل لك أن تسارعني قال ما تسبقني. He said قال شاة من غنمي فصارعه. So Rukana, if I tell you about him, he was known as like the champ within society at that time, undefeated, undisputed, okay, champion of that area, and everybody knew that, okay, everybody knew that. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was at this region of Batha once, and he passed by Rukana. And Rukana had a lot of cattle with him. Okay. So the Prophet, he said to the Prophet ﷺ, "Oh Muhammad," he wasn't Muslim. He said, "Oh Muhammad ﷺ," he said, "Let's wrestle." let's wrestle. He heard of him, so he said, let's wrestle. So the Prophet ﷺ, okay, what's in it for me? Huh? What if I beat you? What do I get? Huh? What do I get if I beat you? So he said, I have some cattle here. You can take from it. Okay. Think of like for in our day and age, he had some Teslas. Okay. Some Teslas, maybe some Camrys in our audience here. Huh? Some Camrys, mashallah. He had some Camrys with maybe 1 or 2 Teslas in there. Okay. So he said, if you beat me, you can go ahead, bismillah, and choose whichever one. Choose whichever one. So they began to wrestle. Dust started going up. Prophet ﷺ took him down. No. So Rukana said, هل لك في العود? No, that was lucky. Let's try this again. That was lucky, right? He got me. You know who I am? Nobody ever put me on my back. Nobody ever put me on my back. So, again, got up, wrestled the Prophet ﷺ again. Boom, ground again. He said, no. Let's run it back. Let's run it back a third time. Third time, again, he dropped him. Prophet ﷺ dropped him. No, he dropped him again and again and again. So he mentioned to the Prophet ﷺ that, O Muhammad, that nobody has ever taken me down. Nobody has ever taken me down. And he was doing ishara that something is unique about you. Something is very unique about you, that I've fought many wrestlers in the world, but nobody has ever even taken me down, even individuals that were bigger than me. So he was indicating that, he was ready to accept Islam. So he said the kalima. He gave him the sheep. Prophet said, I don't need the sheep. He gave him the cattle back, right? He gave him the cattle back. I don't need this. I just wanted to do da'wah in your form. Huh? He gave him da'wah in the form that he would understand, right? So this is another lesson that we learn, that when we're giving da'wah, we can't just, subhanAllah, you see Joe, your neighbor Joe, all right, Joe, sit down, let me give you a bayan for 1 hour. Let me mention the 6 points to you. It's not going to always work with Joe. Right? Joe might not want to sit down for 30 minutes. Okay? Joe might not want to sit down for 30, 40 minutes. Joe, you might need to explain to Joe in his own language, in his own way. Okay, so whether you work in the corporate world, whether you work, in a Muslim arena, whatever the case may be, you have to look out for how you do da'wah. But that's I don't want to sidetrack too much. But we see hadith after hadith where the Prophet ﷺ emphasizes the aspect of the Muslim needing to be strong. Al-mu'minu al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kulli khayr. Right? We read those hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said that the strong believer is better than the weak believer. This applies not only to the ruhani strength, but also to the physical strength as well. So both are important. And when it comes to our physical activity in Ramadan, there are some pieces of advice I'll give to you, inshallah, on the next slide. Because obviously Ramadan is a time where there's a lot of barakah there. And you don't want to be sitting in the gym for 3-4 hours. We talked about at DarusSalam that, mashallah, we wanted to work on our physical health in Ramadan. Yes, this is important. This is important that we need to take care of our physical health. But to what extent? To what extent should we be, how much time, how many hours a day or a week should we be spending on this aspect of physical activity? So what I like to mention and advise individuals is not necessarily that you're going to be focusing on getting bigger at that time. It's going to be difficult to do that. Some people may. But at least focus on maintaining what you actually have. That muscle that you actually have. Okay? That should be at least a bare minimum standard that everybody should try to keep. So whatever muscle that you have at this point, try to maintain that. Okay? And you can do that by having body weight exercises. So you don't even necessarily need to use, weights, because it really depends at what time you're working out in Ramadan, whether you're able to even lift heavy things or not. Okay. But this is one of the secondary benefits of Ramadan, that Muslims were supposed to lose weight in Ramadan, not gain weight. Not supposed to gain weight, but the studies suggest that Muslims actually gain weight in Ramadan, unfortunately. Yeah? So we got to change that. We're not trying to eat 3 suhoors and 3 iftars every day. We need to change that. We should be, if anything, we should be getting less, body fat in Ramadan. So I usually recommend individuals to focus more on body weight workouts as opposed to, heavy lifting. Some workouts, these are just some suggestions that I have, obviously depending on your physical capabilities and your flexibility, you'll be able to do different variations of these. Whether it's, what can you see here? Squats, sit-ups, lunges, push-ups. Alhamdulillah, Ramadan is going to be in March, so inshallah, as it gets warmer, be able to just walk around outside. And you can do different variations of all of these exercises, whether it's squats, if it's difficult, you can do it on the wall. Okay, do wall squats. Okay, you can do your crunches, or you can do sit-ups, push-ups. All of these, there's different variations to make it easier. Okay, and this common question people usually ask is, when should I work out? When should I work out in Ramadan? Now, that's also a personal choice, depending on the level of energy that you have throughout the day, and also, your work schedule. For me personally, it just worked out usually right after Taraweeh. At that time, I could drink water, I could drink, any other drinks that I wanted to drink at that time. So it would be a little bit easier for me. Yes, I would be a little bit tired, but at least I would be able to get, a few sessions in per week. So that would be mine. But I know other individuals that would do it right before suhoor, for example, or right after Fajr, or even individuals do it right before Maghrib. Okay. Now these are times obviously where it may not be ideal for others, and I want you to obviously focus on the aspect of making dua at those times, because those are the times when duas are accepted. But this aspect of physical activity in the health arena, we know that it produces these endorphins, which we call them, your feel-good emotions. It makes you feel good, okay? Because internally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created us in that way. We're not supposed to just be stagnant, just sitting there. No. We're supposed to have some aspect of movement taking place. Okay, so next point we want to talk about is sleep. I'm trying to manage these two screens at the same time here. Okay. So when it comes to sleep, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this in Surah Naba. Surah Naba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ سُبَاتًا وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا وَجَعَلْنَا النَّهَارَ مَعَاشًا. That we made your sleep the aspect of rest. Subat. When we look at this word subat, well, we have students here, mashallah, Arabic students are studying Arabic. Subat, what's the huruf al-asliya of subat? Who can tell me? Huruf al-asliya, yes. Sin ba and ta. Sin ba ta, yes, good. Anybody know what this word sabt means? Lughatan? What does it mean, lughatan? Lughatan, yani linguistically. Sabt. Yes, mashallah, we got a hand up from the back, yeah. Saturday, not that one. Not that one. He's thinking about Yom Sabt. He's ready for the weekend. Battery is running low. This is gonna die. So Sabt, yes. Resting, huh? So this aspect of rest, or yani lughatan, it means this aspect of disconnecting, al-qatr, okay? To disconnect. What do we mean by disconnect? Yani disconnecting yourself when you're going to sleep, disconnecting from everything else. Especially this, right? Especially this. It's not like, oh man, subhanAllah, let me put my alarm on high, in case somebody calls me when I'm sleeping. Oh, hey, What do you mean somebody calls you when you're sleeping? Put your phone off. Right? Put your phone off. Yeah, if you're a doctor or something, okay, fine, I understand that. But the rest of us, we just put your phone off and don't worry about it. Don't worry about somebody calling you at that time. You're gonna ruin your sleep. You're gonna ruin your sleep. You're going to ruin everybody else's sleep. So this is something that when we were focusing on sleep, we need to have this aspect of disconnect. Okay, disconnect from everything else. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this ayah, وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ سُبَاتًا, that your sleep is supposed to be a rest for you. You're supposed to get benefit out of that sleep. No. And the scientists, they try to look into this the different realms of sleep and the different modes of sleep that individuals get into. And some of them discuss that this word subat refers to that deep sleep. And in deep sleep is when you're able to recover very well. Your body recovers very well. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time, at nighttime, right? وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا. At nighttime, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dims the whole sky. Everything is dark. Why? So we can turn on lights inside the house? I don't think so. Not so we can turn on the lights inside our house. That's not the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dimmed the lights of the world. So that you yourself get ready to go to sleep. No? So we make it a habit of going to sleep right after Isha Salah, just like the Prophet ﷺ did. That's how you're able to get up for Fajr. That's how you're able to get up for Tahajjud. Otherwise, you're going to sleep 11, 12, 1 o'clock, and, subhanAllah, I have an issue. I can't get up for Fajr. Well, what do you think that's coming from? Why do you think that's happening? So just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created different ibadas at different times, He asks our body to do different things at different times as well. And nighttime is a time for sleep. وَجَعَلْنَا النَّهَارَ مَعَاشًا, and the day is when you, mashallah, you get up and you be active. You get up and you be active. This is during the day. That's what we need to do. And there's many other things that we mentioned here, but we'll suffice with this much for right now. So the Prophet ﷺ, he would see individuals who would purposely delay their sleep. They were tired, but they would delay their sleep. Here's a narration. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا نَعَسَ أَحَدُكُمْ وَهُوَ يُصَلِّي فَلْيَرْقُدْ حَتَّى يَذْهَبَ عَنْهُ النَّوْمِ فَإِنَّ أَحَدَكُمْ إِذَا صَلَّى وَهُوَ نَاعِسٌ لَا يَدْرِي لَعَلَّهُ يَسْتَغْفِرُ فَيَسُبَّ نَفْسَهُ. Prophet ﷺ, he said that if anyone feels drowsy while praying their salah, all right, go to bed. This is time for you, go to sleep. Until when? Until you have some energy to pray. Because if you start praying when you're drowsy or you start praying when you're tired, then you don't know the alfaz that are coming out of your mouth. Maybe you're making dua for maghfirah, but then you are doing la'na. Okay? He's asking for forgiveness, but he's cursing himself. So we kind of lose a little bit of control over what we're actually saying and what we're actually doing. And there are many narrations that mention this aspect of giving a lot of importance to sleep. The Prophet ﷺ, one time he told one of the companions, Ibn Amr, that he used to pray the whole night. Whole night he would pray. Yeah? So the Prophet ﷺ told him that offer your prayers, but also sleep at night. Pray. Don't stop praying. Don't stop praying. But also, sleep at night. I'm making one of the brothers sleepy right now, huh? He's about to sleep right now. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. Right, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, فَإِنَّ لِجَسَدِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا. Your body has a right over you. Your body has a right over you. I'm gonna get to that in terms of food later on, inshallah. But your body has a haqq over you. And at this time you're tired, you take care of that haqq. Okay. Now don't let shaitan get to you, shaitan comes to you, it's Isha time. Oh, you look tired right now, you should go to sleep, just forget Isha. So no. Fulfill your obligations, and then take care of your priorities, then you need to rest, go ahead, go rest. One time the Prophet ﷺ, he entered the masjid, and he saw there was a rope. There was a rope that was hanging down. And it was there between these two pillars. So Prophet ﷺ said, what is this? What is this rope doing? Why is there a rope in the middle of the masjid? So the people started to say that this rope is the rope for Zainab. When she feels tired, she just kind of ties it to herself so she's able to stay awake and do more ibadah. She won't fall down. She would kind of keep herself up. Mafhum? Keep herself up. So the Prophet ﷺ said, this rope right here, no, take it out. Remove that rope. Remove that rope. He said, you need to pray as long as you have the energy to pray. You have energy to pray, you pray. When you get tired, you go to sleep. Okay, obviously this is referring to Qiyamul Layl, and this is referring to other nawafil that she was doing. When you get tired, then you need to go to sleep. Okay, because you don't want it to come Fajr time and you don't have the energy to get up for Fajr. Fajr is a priority, or is Nafil a priority? Obviously your Fajr, your Fara'id are more of a priority. So we need to make sure we look at all aspects of our health, even when it comes to sleep. Okay. And there's many benefits. Some here you can see helps with the internal organs and recovery, hormone regulation, memory, especially for Hufaz, mashallah, and students of knowledge. Right? This is key. A lot of individuals, I'm going to study the whole night before the exam, and the exam time comes, they're sleeping. Oh, bhai, what are you doing, man? What you doing? First of all, you should have been studying. You should have been doing mutala and takrar throughout the whole semester anyways, right? Not when it comes time for exam. Mutala and takrar need to take place throughout the whole year. But in any case, you do your studies, you study as much as you can, and then at the end, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Wake up for Fajr, wake up at the Tahajjud time, and continue your studies at that time. This is extremely important for us, especially when it comes to memory, especially for the Hufaz and the ulama here. Okay, now. And if you don't do that, then these are all the things that people talk about that they don't want to occur in their life, whether it's weight gain, increased risk of chronic disease, accidents, injuries. I remember we were taking the motorcycle class. And the instructor was saying that the most common time people that get into accidents is when they were tired. When they were tired. Why? Because they couldn't think straight. You need to be able to focus. You need to be able to turn properly. You need to be able to assume that everybody's going to, hitting you from all sides. You need to have focus when you're driving. So same thing. What's more important? Riding a motorcycle, or is it our salah? Having focus in our salah, having focus in our ibadah. Obviously, our ibadah is much more important. Okay. So there's a huge decline in cognitive function and many aspects of our health. Anxiety. Now people start overeating. Right? A lot of times people start overeating. They think they're hungry, but in reality they're sleepy. They think that they're hungry, but in reality they're sleeping. So that's why a lot of people, at night they just keep on eating and not getting full. Now some of that has to do with what they're eating. We'll get to that inshallah in a moment. So this is just a sample sleep schedule that I just made up. You don't have to obviously follow this, but people always ask, what should I do? What should be my sleep schedule in Ramadan? So this is something that you can possibly follow. You pray your Taraweeh, whether you're doing the 5-night khatam, 7-night khatam, 11, or however many nights, mashallah, you're finishing in. But right after Taraweeh, you go ahead and you get some rest. Now you sleep. And you wake up at the Tahajjud time, suhoor time, right? You wake up, you have your nutrient-dense suhoor, not your leftover nihari from iftar. I'm going to get to that, inshallah. You guys aren't ready for this. Okay. So, we have our iftar. One second. We have our suhoor. We have our suhoor, whether it's half an hour, 1 hour. You eat your suhoor peacefully with content, inshallah. If you're hungry, right? If you're hungry. Now, don't feel yourself, I'm going to be fasting for 17 hours. I need to, eat. Then you're going to be feeling the what you ate for the rest of the day. So then after that, you can pray your Fajr at the masjid, mashallah. Then you know, if you want, you can work. Some people like to work out at that time, work out or do some work or ibadah, and then you go to sleep, have some qaylula, obviously time in the middle of the day. So this is, you know, a possible schedule that you can do. There is a study that I found that some brothers, they did some research in regards to the effects of Ramadan fasting in terms of sleep patterns and daytime sleepiness. Okay, because during Ramadan, you know, the bedtime and the time we wake up, it's extremely delayed. There's a huge reduction in how much we sleep, usually, right? There's a huge reduction of when we sleep and how much we sleep. So even though the study was a little bit of a smaller study, but it showed that the sleep cycle of individuals, even though it was affected quite a bit, it did not impact their sleepiness while they were fasting. Now, even though they slept less, they were not more tired. They were not more tired. Why is this? Obviously, this is the barakah of Ramadan. No? When we're thinking about Ramadan, I think when we're thinking about okay. When we're thinking about Ramadan and we're thinking about sleep, this shouldn't be the first thing on our mind, but this is something that we take into consideration. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has miracles happen, and we see it on a daily basis within Ramadan. For example, Taraweeh. Taraweeh, mashallah, we usually at that time of the day, many of us are either in bed or getting ready to go to bed. But in Ramadan, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us to stand up for 1 hour, 2 hours. How is that possible? This is through the barakah of Ramadan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to mandate something that's going to be harmful to our body. So the study showed that even though individuals slept less, alhamdulillah, through the barakah of Ramadan, they still had, it did not reduce their sleepiness that they had. Okay. You all love Habibo, so I thought. Okay, so this quick summary is that you sleep, you know, honestly, you sleep when you're tired, right? It's not that complicated. You sleep when you're tired. Now, this goes hand in hand. You know, you might be thinking, oh man, I'm always tired. I should always be sleeping, right? My mom and dad always tell me, you know, why aren't you doing any work? I'm tired. That's what I learned at the masjid today. I could go to sleep whenever I'm tired. All right, relax. We're going to talk about how it relates to the how our body is completely related in a holistic fashion. We need to look at all aspects of it. Then and only then, if you're tired, okay, mashallah, then you go ahead and get some sleep. Okay, number 2 is that you maintain your muscle that you have with quick, effective workouts. Don't spend 2-3 hours at the gym in Ramadan. This is not the time for that. You know, I'm all for going to the gym, you know, as long as you're properly covering your aura, covering your eyes, covering your ears, right? You're taking care of what you need to take care of. Now, I'm all for that, right? I go as well. But you need to make sure that you have your iman and your head on straight when you go these places. Okay. So this is in regards to sleep. Now let's get to, mashallah, what everybody wants to talk about. I thought I saved this to the end. What we all like to talk about in terms of food, in terms of eating. So let's start off with another question here. What is the number one cause of death and disability in America? In America, in USA? Yes.
Overeating.
Huh? Overeating? Sure. Of what? Pakoras? No, I love pakoras. We're joking, right? Yes. Obesity? Yes. Yeah, he's done. Yes? Not sleeping? Huh? Diabetes? Okay, diabetes. Not sleeping? Huh? Tax? Heart attacks. I thought you said taxes. Huh? The taxes are coming up too. That's important. Yes. Okay. It's our diet. It's our diet. It's key. It's key. Paying attention to our diet is absolutely instrumental, and it's very important. There was a study that was done by the Gates Foundation. Forget about them for a moment, but there was a study that was done by them it was a 2010 global burden of disease study, which determined that the leading cause of death and disability for the Americans was their diet. It was their diet. After that is smoking. I don't know if anybody mentioned that, right? After that is smoking. People always love to talk about smoking in schools and you know in the medical modules they talk about that. But nutrition is something that's not very much discussed. And I've talked to many doctors, and they've told me this. We have discussion in terms of how many modules or how many classes they had in terms of nutrition. They said it was very minimal, if anything. If anything. Maybe they had a couple hours here and there. It was very important. Very important, this aspect of taking care of our diet. No? Let's see. Okay. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He talks about this aspect of our diet in many places within the Quran, and many places within the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ discusses this as well. First ayah that I wanted to talk about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم واشكروا لله إن كنتم إياه تعبدون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the believers here. Over here He's addressing the believers. The believers, ya Muslimun, ya Mu'minun, you have to make sure that you eat from those things that are pure that have been provided to you. كُلُوا مِن طَيِّبَاتِ مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِلَّهِ. We'll get to that in a moment. But it starts off with كُلُوا مِن طَيِّبَاتِ مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us abundance of rizq, especially here in America. Many options, alhamdulillah, we have. No. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the Prophet ﷺ talk about food, they always talk about food in the aspect of it being extremely nutrient dense, the quality of the food. And they stress the importance of having pure quality and small quantity, and it being nutrient dense. Okay? Pure quality, small quantity. Many people always ask, we always read the hadith in our hadith class about the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? Everybody always talks about that hadith. 1/3 food, 1/3 water, and 1/3? Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say 1/3 rovza. Yes, huh? Well, 1/3 empty, yeah? Leaving it to breathe. No? Leaving it to breathe. But we setting ourselves up for failure, honestly. We're setting ourselves up for failure. When we talk about that hadith, and we making it unnecessarily difficult upon ourselves. Why? And when? When we're eating foods that are created to block the signal from our gut to our brain. That's what some of these foods do. It blocks the signal, which tells us that we're full. So you, in your mind, you're eating, and you eat a plate or 2 plates or whatever, and you're still hungry. So obviously, simply, you're going to continue to eat. It's not going to be possible. You might be able to, I'm going to control my nafs. I'm going to only eat 1/3. I'm going to put this on only 1/3, of the plate, water, 1/3 food, and 1/3 leave empty. Okay. You might be able to do that 1 day, 2 days, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks. That's not going to last. I'm telling you, it's not going to last. I've tried it. I've tried many different diets. That does not last. Okay, you have to pay attention to the quality of your food, especially as Muslims. Alhamdulillah, years back, the scholars worked extremely hard to make sure that the food that we have on our plate is halal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them abundant reward for that. They set the concrete for it. They set the foundation. But as Muslims, we need to continue that. We can't just think, let me just check. There's many, different groups that I'm in which talk about, they always ask the question, is this halal? I tell them, I can give you, why am I going to even bother looking at the ingredients here when I know I'm not going to even touch this. I'm not going to touch this. I can't even read half of those ingredients. Now, I can't even read half of those ingredients. Even if it's halal, it's definitely not tayyib. It's definitely not pure. Mafhum? We have to progress as Muslims. We can't just be, hell-bent on, oh, alhamdulillah, it's halal, whatever, if it's going to kill me, it's going to kill me, but at least it's halal. At least it's halal. No, as Muslims, we need to continue that torch that our scholars have done for us. It's not enough to just figure out if it's halal or not. Is it tayyib or not? Is it pure for you or not? No. And when we talk about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this word, كُلُوا مِن طَيِّبَاتِ مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. Mufassirun, whether you look at the different mufassirun, whether classical or contemporary mufassirun, they mention the same thing. That there's intifa' in the present and in the future. That you will have benefit from that food. It mentions from all angles. From all angles you'll have benefit from that food. There will be benefit in different avenues. You'll have benefit from that food, in the short term and in the long term. It's not this, oh, I feel satisfied, I feel good for 10 minutes, for half an hour, and then 2 hours later, oh, my stomach hurts, or tomorrow at nighttime, oh, I can't go to sleep because I ate that burger at X, Y, and Z place, or whatever the case may be. No, as Muslims, we always think about Jannah, right? We always think about what we're going to get in the Akhirah. We always love talking about, the khalidina fiha abada, right? We always talk about that. Then why not think of it, talk about our food and think about the nutrients that we get from our food like that as well? Is it going to impact me in the short term? What are the benefits short term? What are the benefits long term? For the Muslim is important, right? What are the benefits long term? That's what we need to talk about. No? In Jannah, inshallah, you'll be able to enjoy anything. وَفَاكِهَةٍ مِمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ وَلَحْمِ طَيْرٍ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. Right? You'll be able to enjoy any fruits. You'll be able to enjoy the meat. Mashallah, the bird. You'll see it flying, and you want it to be grilled. Mashallah, it'll be grilled on your plate. You want it to be fried. Inshallah, you can enjoy that too. Huh? You can enjoy that too. It'll be fried on your plate. That's in Jannah, not here. That's not here. So don't put this trash in your body. Do not put that trash in your body. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given honor to us. He's given too much honor to us for us to put this trash into our body. And I always tell the masajid, and I told the madaris this thing. We cannot serve our students trash. For a fact, we know that this is going to be detrimental to their health. No? We know for a fact this is detrimental to our health. And if you see it in front of you, that doesn't mean you have to eat it. It might be hard 1 week or 2 weeks. But in all honesty, after those 1-2 weeks are gone, when you see that food, you're gonna realize. I always tell my kids this too, and I always think about this myself, that okay, I might want it right now, but I think about how am I gonna feel afterwards? Yeah, it's gonna be stuck to my teeth. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have no energy. Yes, I'm gonna feel like trash the next day. Yes, I'm not gonna be able to wake up for Fajr. Think about the impact. Think about the impact that it's going to have. And when you look at it from that lens as a Muslim, then inshallah you'll have much more success to do that 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Otherwise, if you're not having high quality food, that 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 is just not possible for you. It's just not possible. I'm just being honest. So we want to obviously enjoy the food. Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu. We want to enjoy it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about enjoying the food. Enjoy your food, yes. But at the same time, وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Don't do israf of the food by overeating. No? Yes, one aspect of israf is just throwing it away. How many tons of food is just thrown away into the water, into the oceans? That's another problem. But we're to at least fix the issue at home yourself of not overeating by eating high quality nutrient-dense foods. And we can go on and on about this, but I don't want to take too long here. So first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes the aspect of pure food. When you do that, then and only then can you apply the second part of the ayah. وَاشْكُرُوا لِلَّهِ إِن كُنْتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. Then can you be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you're no longer drowsy. You're no longer tired. You now have the energy for salah. You now have the energy for ibadah. You now have the energy to fast. Because you have energy now. This is the beauty of it. If it wasn't important, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't have mentioned it in many places in the Quran. If it wasn't important. Okay? This isn't just my own personal thing. No, alhamdulillah, I have a passion for this, yes. But more importantly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned it within the ayat, within the Quran. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned it abundantly within the sunnah as well. Okay? So when we talk about the word halal, we need to get beyond whether it doesn't have any animal products or doesn't have any impermissible ingredients which would nullify for us to the hilliya of us to consume it or not. We have to get beyond that. This is important. Okay, this is important. Because the food that we eat, they contain these bioactives. Now, and you want to make sure that the food that you get, it keeps those bioactives healthy. Okay? And there's this aspect of the microbiome within ourself, which, taking care of the gut, quote-unquote, bugs, this is absolutely essential. When we talk about the microbiome, it's everything in between the mouth and the colon. No? Everything in between the mouth and the colon. This contains trillions and trillions of microorganisms to help us break down and digest these foods. It weighs about close to 5 pounds within our body. And the bacteria in this microbiome, it helps us to digest the food. That helps us to gain the nutrients from the food. Okay? So, unless we give it importance, it's not going to, we're not going to see the positive effects on our overall health. We are not. And we can talk on and on about this, but that's enough for that. Oh yeah, this is the other verse that we were talking about. وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. That you go ahead, you eat. Enjoy your food. Nobody's saying, we all love to go out with our friends and enjoy the food. Yes, mashallah. We all love to, eat in the dinner table with your classmates. Mashallah, it's always fun. And you drink, mashallah. وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا, but don't do israf. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love those who waste. Again, emphasizing quality over quantity, quality over quantity, quality over quantity. We always, people always talk about, calories, I got to count my calories, got to count my All right, come on. This is good. Yes, it's important that you care about your health. Okay, but not all calories are created equal. Not all calories are created equal. Please don't just say, I had this bag of Takis. Yeah? I had this bag of Takis, and you say it's the same amount of calories as so-and-so fruit or so-and-so vegetable. Oh, but hey, come on. You're comparing something that's been genetically modified in some lab, okay, in some facility versus something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed to grow from the ground. Please don't try to compare these two things, ever. Okay? I don't even call that food. No, I don't even call that stuff food. I don't care if the FDA calls it food. I don't call it food. No. So we have to get into that habit of eating things that are whole, right? Or whole foods that haven't been processed to the nth degree, completely processed and completely refined. And then they try to say, we added nutrients too. Oh, why don't you just leave the nutrients that were there? They remove the nutrients and they process, and then they say, I added vitamin D to it. I added vitamin B12. Why? You should have just left it like how it was. Okay. You would have got the vitamins that it was supposed to have anyways. Why are you changing it up? Why are you changing it up? No. So you have your whole foods, you have your fruits, you have your vegetables, you have your legumes, you have your nuts, you have your seeds, whole grains, meat, fish, eggs. I mean, the list goes on. The list goes on, mashallah. We're Desis, mashallah. Many, the Arabs, mashallah. The Muslim cuisine is something to brag about. It's something to brag about, mashallah. As long as we use the quality ingredients. No, as long as we use the quality ingredients. And I kid you not, when you choose quality of the ingredients over the quantity, you will notice a difference. I promise you will notice a difference. I've seen patients who have made a change in their health even when they went from non-organic to organic. The biggest change obviously I've seen was when they go from using trash ingredients to real ingredients. That's the biggest change. But then also changes I've seen when they go from using non-organic to organic. Because obviously with your non-organic, they're going to spray, and it's not as regulated. They're going to spray as many herbicides and pesticides as they want to keep the bugs away and to keep the animals away. Okay, so you enjoy, mashallah, enjoy. I don't want to come across like, he's the guy that talks about never to eat food or always fast. No, I want you to enjoy your food, enjoy your drink, but also enjoy your health as well. Enjoy your health as well. These individuals, when they create these products, when they create these products, they don't have necessarily your health in mind. What do they like to care about? How much money can I make off them? How much money can I make off them? And how long can I keep it on the shelf without it going bad? How long can I keep it on the shelf without it going bad? That's a great product for them. Because even if it doesn't sell this year, it'll sell next year. We can just keep it on there, right? We can just keep it on the shelf, and it's okay. So all they care about is shelf life, not your life. Not your life. Shelf life is important for them. Mafhum? Oh, this is the hadith. This is the hadith that we were talking about in terms of 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, where the Prophet ﷺ talks about that if you must, there isn't any vessel that a human being fills that is worse than the vessel in his stomach, and it's sufficient for them to eat a few mouthfuls to keep their back straight. But if you must, then 1/3 food, 1/3 for drink, and 1/3. You keeping it empty. Okay. No. Yeah. So we see this connection, this picture of the vagus nerve. We were talking about the mind and body, mind and gut connection. Yes. So this is the vagus nerve that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created within us, which tells us when we're full and when we're not full. No? And there's been books written on this for years that talk about how these companies, these major food companies, a lot of them, it was surprising for me to find this out, but a lot of them, they were actually drug companies before they became food companies. So they know how to get people addicted. They know how to get people addicted. And they got people addicted to drugs, and then they're like, let's move on to other things. Okay, let's get them addicted to certain foods. And that's why you'll see our kids, when they see certain things, they're like, they'll make you go crazy until you buy it. They're not going to let you leave the store until you buy it. So they hire, and I'm not making this stuff up, these individuals, they hire scientists. They hire scientists, these big food companies, they hire scientists so that they can measure and check exactly how much sugar, salt, and fat needs to be in this product to have them come for more. Let me repeat that because this is very important. They hire these scientists, and this is candies and things that we see in the vending machine that we give to our kids. It looks like, Tony the tiger, mashallah, or like, whatever the case may be. We have husnul dhan. Look, he looks like a smiling tiger, right? Yeah, I don't know how much husnul dhan you should have for them. So they hire these scientists so that they can measure and test how much sugar, how much salt, and how much fat we should put into our product so that it's not too much, but it's not too less. But when they eat it, they'll remember, I need to come back for more. That feeling that I had, man, that was a great feeling. I want to come back for more. I want more of that. And we get addicted to that. You talk about addicted to drugs, we talk about addicted to food. Because I look at food as medicine. Because food is medicine. Food is medicine. So this is extremely important. And one of the things that I was talking about earlier, there are certain foods that they have which will block this signal in the vagus nerve. It will block it. So you actually eat, and you technically were supposed to be full, but because what they put into that product, it blocked that signal to your mind
that will tell you that it's actually full, so you keep on eating and eating. When was the last time you ate a bag of chips and you still felt full? But when was the last time you ate a bag of apples and like, oh man, after one apple, two apples, you can't do much more than that, right? After a few, you're full, right? You're full. You can't mess with more. You're going to be forcing it. But with that, when you're eating those other products, that signal is blocked. No? And we have to know everything that we put into our body, guys. We have to. This is not just for me. This is impacting our day-to-day life with our kids, with our parents, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, most importantly. Anything that impacts our deen should be important for all of us, not just me. And not just that brother and that sister or Dr. Sab here or Dr. Sab there. It shouldn't just be for them. Because all of us care about our ibadah. All of us care about our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of us want to do more. How are you going to do more when you're constantly sick? Yes, sickness, we as Muslim, we think of it as a ni'mah. We think of it as a blessing. It's a kafara for our sins. There's always khayr for the Muslim, right? There's always khayr for every aspect of the Muslim. But nowhere in the deen where it tells you to intentionally get sick. You're not supposed to make dua for sickness. Oh, Allah, allow me to be sick so I can have kafara for my sins. No, you do tawbah. You have tawbah for that. Umar radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu was those folks, he just, said it straight, right? He wasn't beating around the bush. There's a hadith, he mentions, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالْبِطْنَةِ وَالشَّرَى فَإِنَّهَا مُفْسِدَةٌ لِلْجَسَدِ مُورِثَةٌ لِلسَّقَمْ مُكْسِرَةٌ عَنِ الصَّلَاةِ Umar radiallahu anhu, one time he went up to an individual who had a mashallah stomach. I just call it a mashallah stomach. He had a mashallah. And he told him, what are you doing? What's this? And he told him, avoid having this huge gut. Why? Because it spoils the body. It causes disease, and most importantly, what? Muksiratun anis salah. It's going to make you lazy from your salah. You're not going to have that concentration in salah. Forget about having concentration. You might not even get up for salah. This is what this does. So Ramadan, and I'm going to repeat this, Ramadan isn't the time where we think of, I need to make sure I'm going to be eating all day, or I'm going to be, our focus shouldn't be eating, or our focus should be, our fast, because we're going to be fasting 17, 18 hours. No? It's connected, but our focus needs to be more on how can we improve our fast. So, quick list, inshallah, examples of what would be considered tayyib versus what would be considered wakhim or khabith. Okay, pure. I'm trying to give you the ideal standard. Is you have local, organic fruits, vegetables, grass-fed, free-range meats, healthy fats. These are what you want to look for when we're talking about foods. No. Impure. You have your artificial ingredients, you have your GMOs, you have your natural, quote-unquote, natural flavors. I love when they do that. I hate when they do that. And natural flavors. Oh, boy, I want to smack them. There's natural flavor. There's nothing natural about that natural flavor. There's nothing natural about it. There's only like a few videos, I think, left on YouTube which actually show how they actually process and make these natural flavors. You'll see they have like 20 different variants of like cinnamon, and none of them is like real cinnamon, but it makes you it gives a smell and taste of cinnamon. I remember I looked at a cereal once. It wasn't Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Don't worry about that. It was some other cereal. And it said it had cinnamon in the front. So I was like, oh, cool. Let me. I turned it around. I was going through the ingredients. It didn't have that many ingredients, which is good, but it didn't have cinnamon in there. It didn't have cinnamon. I was like, oh, boy, you're marketing as cinnamon. You don't have any cinnamon in there. You got no cinnamon. Okay, but they'll have artificial flavors. They'll have your quote-unquote natural flavors, which will give the taste of cinnamon. Well, why are we going to put cinnamon when we can put something that tastes like cinnamon and is like a quarter of the price? Yeah? You get what you pay for. You do, Allah, you get what you paid for. Okay? So don't think that you're going to have energy and the himma to do ibadah when you're eating 50-cent stuff that shouldn't be considered food, shouldn't even be sold on the street. No? We can't just look at price. There's a time to be cheap, but with your health, it's not one of them. No. There's a time to make sure that you care about how you spend and where you spend, but your health is not one of them. One of the teachers, one of my teachers, he would say that you're either going to pay for your health now, or you're going to pay for your health later in the form of medications. You either pay for your health now, yani in terms of getting proper food and proper nutrients and proper nutrition, or you pray for it later. And we know that quality is not what we want. No, that's not what we want. So these are some things that we want to stay away from: GMOs, preservatives, hydrogenated oils. Oh, that's a big one, huh? So any of these oils that came out recently, you want to stay away from those. Trans fats that have a high association to heart disease. Your vegetable oils, they get you with these names of vegetable oil, yeah? Vegetable oils, these are things that harden the arteries. They harden the arteries. These hydrogenated oils or partially hydrogenated oils, these we need to stay away from them. No? Yes? Yeah, so that I was going to get into. So some good examples of oils, mashallah, he beat me to it. Some good examples of oils, which I'll talk about, inshallah, I think on the next slide. Why don't you think about this one for a moment? But some good examples would be like olive oil if you're cooking in low heat. For higher heat, you can use coconut oil, avocado oil. You can use ghee. You can use tallow. These are things that you use for high heat. So it all depends on what you're cooking. For lower things, yes, you can use olive oil, but you don't want to use olive oil for everything, because when you use olive oil for high heat, then it's going to create these what's the word? Carcinogens, and there's another word. If I remember, I'll mention them. I can't remember right now. But it creates these chemicals within and it actually makes the oil harmful for you at that point. Yes. Yeah, so it depends on whether you're doing a deep fry or if you're doing like low fry. Then, for deep frying, if you're cooking for quite a bit of time, then you can use oils that have high smoke points. So oils that have high smoke points would be like avocado oil or coconut oil. So these are oils that have higher smoke points. Ghee as well. Your extra virgin olive oil, it's good, but it has a lower smoke point, so you got to be careful how you use that. All right, who wants to guess? Who wants to guess what this product is? This great product. It used to be great. Not great anymore though. Yes. Rovza. All right. He's missing that one. Okay. He's missing his Rovza. All right. Anybody else? Huh? Arizona. Okay. Huh? Type of Gatorade? Okay. Anybody else? MashaAllah, he got it right on point, huh? The lal drink. The red drink. Should be called like the killer drink, huh? I mean, you guys ever take that and just turn it? You see how it looks like oil, right? It's just it's just so slow. I mean, look at the ingredients. Look what it starts off with. So look at the first ingredient. Sugar. Oh, mashallah, I got water in it. Okay. You got your fruits, huh? You got your fruits. Okay. Then you got a bunch of preservatives. Let's keep on going down. Your sodium benzoate. Okay, at least they were nice enough to say preservative in parentheses this time. And what's after that? Artificial color, which is in parentheses red 40. You think that's red just because, just like Allah SWT created it red, You think that looks natural red to you? Does that look like a natural red that you see like in your bell pepper? I don't think so. No. I always joke. It seems like, the individuals, he sounds like Peyton Manning, and they're red 40, like 42, bye. That shouldn't be in your drinks. That shouldn't be in your food. There's so much. I remember there was a doctor that I was listening to. She said that her son, it was her son or her daughter, that she would be eating snacks, and her son would not sit down in the classroom. They diagnosed her with like ADD, ADHD, and she was trying to figure out. She was a doctor, so she was trying to figure out. And then she finally linked it, and she finally realized that it was from the snacks that he was having, which contained these artificial colors and these artificial flavors, these different chemicals, red 40, blue 20, or whatever, these different numbers. Once she took them out from his diet, boom, those things went away. Those things went away from him. He went from a kid that would never sit on his chair to a kid that was focusing in class. And this isn't like a one-off thing. And for every individual, it impacts, symptoms show up differently. It's not the same for everybody. No, it's not the same for everybody. These are just, I just want to highlight some things. I don't want to go a little, we want to try wrapping it up here now. Okay, this aspect of, okay, let's jump here. Let's talk about Ramadan. Your sample suhoor. Okay, so some sample suhoors, obviously you have your water, you have your dates. Another thing, for individuals that it's difficult for them to get their vegetables or their fruits in, a smoothie is a great way to do that. No? Obviously, take your time when you are drinking that, because now you're taking a meal and you completely blended it and it's getting into your bloodstream very quick. So take your time when you drink it. Even doctors even mention that you even make that chewing motion. Now, even make that chewing motion with the smoothie, even though it probably is blended enough for you to just drink it, but still make that chewing motion so it activates that microbiome in your mouth as well. Okay, so smoothie is great. Oatmeal for some individuals, it keeps them full for a lengthier period. This would be one example of a suhoor. Again, for iftar, obviously the Prophet ﷺ, he would focus on dates. You have your fruits. You have, mashallah, we can't go, we're Desis, right? We can't be out without our samosas and our pakoras. I love me some samosas and some pakoras, but I love me even more some samosas and pakoras when they're cooked in the proper oil. When they're cooked in the proper oil. I wrote gluten-free because some individuals have issues with gluten. Not everybody has issues with gluten, but you can, as long as these foods are cooked in low, medium heat with avocado oil or coconut oil, then bismillah, you can enjoy them. You can enjoy them. Obviously, talk to your doctor. I'm not your PCP or anything like that, but talk to your doctor and see, would it be fine for me to have these things? Okay. Talk to them and see what they would recommend. A lot of the times, they'll be okay with these things. So smoothie, again, for iftar if you want. Again, panini-filled rolls with home-cooked meat and your vegetables. I mean, wallahi, there's only a few things better in life than making your own meal and enjoying that your own meal made by your own hands, because you know every single ingredient that went into it. It's a beautiful feeling to have. Every single thing that you made a roll or you made a sandwich, and you know every single ingredient in it. That's a beautiful feeling, right? That's a beautiful feeling to have. As opposed to you go out, Allah Alam where that bun is from, Allah Alam where that meat is from, Allah Alam what the stuff that you can't even see, the salt, the sugar, the salt, the black pepper, Allah Alam what type of quality. Obviously they're not going to use the highest quality. Why would they use the highest quality? You can't even see it. All you care about is the taste. So this is key. Water, obviously huge, especially in Ramadan. This everybody, when it comes to when those hours that we're not fasting, you should always be carrying a water bottle with you, and drink it as needed, especially when it comes to Taraweeh. Okay, so some healthy swaps, and a lot of people aren't going to like this one. I'm taking a shot at their chawal, huh? I promise, I still love you. Okay, your chawal, which one looks better? Come on, I purposely did that. Huh? Which one looks better? Yeah? You have to think about it, right? Now, not everybody can handle it initially, whether it's your quinoa or whether it's your brown rice or your wild rice, whatever the case may be. But eat something that it's in its whole original form, whatever you like. Some people love brown rice. Some people love quinoa. Some people love that wild rice. Whatever suits you. Right? You do you in this regard. But don't just choose something that everybody else is eating that has been processed to the nth degree, and in some cases even bleached. And all that's left is just a bunch of carbs. We talk about carbs, yeah? All that's left is a bunch of carbs. Yes?
Can you go back to the last slide?
Go back to the last slide, yeah? Because when it comes to brown rice, for example, I'm just take brown rice. Brown rice it's a whole grain. It's a whole grain. means you have the bran, you have the germ, and you have the carb-rich endosperm. All three components are there within the brown rice. Within the white rice, are all three there? They're not there. They're not there. It's not there. That's why you don't feel full after you eat it a lot of the time. That's why you need to eat double the proportions probably than you eat brown rice, if you ever eat brown rice. I know I need to. Whenever I eat, white rice as a dawat or whatever the case may be, if I eat, then usually I'll have brown rice this much, and then if I to feel full, if I'm having white rice, I'll have to at least have double that. Otherwise, I don't feel full. You don't feel full. No. So the white rice it removes the bran, it removes the germ. All that's left is just that carb-rich, that carb endosperm. That's all that's left. No, with very, very, very little amount of essential nutrients. Very small. Okay. So we really have to check ourselves. Remember we were talking about giving importance to GMOs, giving importance to things that have been modified to the nth degree. We have to care about these things. Some healthy swaps. Okay, so we have this type of chawal for organic chawal. This thing that looks fruity but it had no fruits in it. So let's swap them for real fruits. Let's swap them for some real fruits. Breads is a common example people always ask. Okay, so these are better examples. These are better examples that you can use for breads. There's a lot of things that they hide, so you really have to pay attention to these ingredients, inshallah. All right. In every desi diet, we have what? What do we have in every desi diet? I didn't mention it here yet. On this, huh? Meat? Meat, huh? Meat. So we gotta also pay attention to the meat that we eat. No? What type of meat? What type of environment was the chicken raised in? What type of environment was the cow raised in? What type of environment was the lamb or the sheep raised in? No? Was it just fed antibiotics after antibiotics to make it fatter and fatter and fatter? Was it just closed in a small little pen and no space, no breathing air, nothing to eat outside, but just given food that was genetically modified so they can become fatter and fatter? These are things that we have to pay attention to. Crescent doesn't give me anything, right? They're just local, so I thought I mentioned them because they have, as far as your chicken goes. Last time I checked, right? They gave importance to this aspect of feeding them, vegetarian food. And allowing them to be free range. But there are others as well. I remember there's a Muslim organization, Muslim farm out in New York. They're, mashallah, that's the only one that I know that is completely organic as well. And it's hard to have your meats be labeled as organic by the FDA. It's very difficult, very difficult. So that's I know they deliver as well. So these are some, examples. I'm even taking a shot at your naans. Huh? What's better than your homemade rotis? Huh? Nothing better than that. Okay. The aspect of fasting. Okay. Fasting, obviously, why we fast? We fast because we're Muslim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us to fast. That's the primary reason. Case is closed. In terms of secondary benefits, there's always going to be secondary benefits. This is not why we're fasting, though. I want to make this very clear. This is not why we're fasting. We're fasting because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it mandatory for us. We only have 5 pillars in Islam. That's why we're fasting. But in terms of secondary benefits, there's many secondary benefits. There's this aspect of autophagy, which is kind of the body's natural recycling program, or recycling system. Okay? In Latin, they translate it as self-eating. So it eats away at the bad bacteria within the self. So it kind of cleans the system from within. Think of it as like a car wash from within, huh? Okay, reduces stress. Okay, reduces inflammation, which is obviously going to reduce your stress as well. Minimizes insulin resistance. There's studies that show that as well. Okay, so to summarize, as Muslims, we need to go beyond just checking if it's halal. We need to see if the actual ingredients is tayyib or not. And don't waste food by overeating, right? And that goes hand in hand with number 1. And all of this is going to be related. All of this is going to come in handy, and then we'll get the reward for all of these things if we're following the sunnah. If we don't have the sunnah, if we don't have Allah and His Rasul in our mind when we're having our food, before we have our food, before we make the food, then how much benefit are you really going to get from the actual blessing, ni'mah of food? Because, wallahi, I mean, it's a huge blessing to have this. And we see videos and pictures of individuals, whether it's in Palestine, whether it's in Pakistan or India, wherever the case may be, where such shortage of food. If anything, they don't have, some of them don't have food for days. No. So we want to check ourselves. And that was kind of the whole reason why we came up with Integrative Shifa, which is to assist Muslims into not only just carry about the secondary food aspect, but also primary food, and give that blend of having this Islamic lifestyle and blending that with the nutrition science that we have in our day and age. Which, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I thought I'd give you guys the good news as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us to, we just got our own location just yesterday. We signed, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is extremely merciful. He blessed us with a location here on Lake Street, and close to Lake Street and Bloomingdale, 125 East Lake Street. So inshallah, whenever you have a chance, you can come by. It will be open inshallah in a few days. But what we like to do at Integrative Shifa is have this aspect of health coaching, because there's nothing like one-on-one. Okay? There's nothing like one-on-one. Obviously, these durus, these lectures, they're all good and great, alhamdulillah. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we thank for all the individuals that set it up. But we also want to look beyond that as well. So some of the things that we offer are, having this Islamically integrated lifestyle habits, Islamically integrated nutrition. We also, give homeopathy recommendation, dietary assessments based upon the individual's needs. That's why I can only give general, information and general principles that are mentioned within Wahi. That's what we've talked about today. But everybody has their own particular case. Everybody has their own particular, struggles and symptoms that they go through. So that's why this is something that we offer. We offer individual sessions, couples sessions, group sessions, even for for those individuals. A lot of students try to take advantage of that because it's difficult to always come on an individual level. So we offer these group sessions as well. Supermarket tour we started recently, which basically is very practical. Is literally just go with them to the store, and I tell them, and I ask them, what do you buy? What do you buy? Okay, I buy this. Okay, here's a better alternative for this. Boom. And I'll show them the ingredients. This is why it's better. We literally go one by one by one. No. And it usually takes about an hour. And their pantries, completely change within just 1 hour. Within 1 hour. And they don't have to change. I'm not one of those folks that, I'm going to make you, put like brown rice down your throat. I'm not. Whatever diet you have, whatever lifestyle you have, let's just increase the quality of those ingredients. Let's increase the quality. So if you have rice, let's give you better rice. If you're using salt, let's give you better salt. If you're using black pepper, turmeric, let's give you better quality of that. Salan, all right, let's give you better salan. Just better quality of whatever you're eating. And that will make a world of difference. Okay? So this is the supermarket tour. And alhamdulillah, we have different workshops that we offer throughout the month as well. So we'll open the floor, inshallah, for questions.
I've heard there's a benefit in, if you boil rice and have it cooked, and then putting it in the freezer and then eating it the next day. Is that true?
So the brother, mashallah, is asking if there is any benefit of boiling the rice, or cooking the rice, putting in the freezer, and then eating it the next day. Allah alam, that's a unique one for me. I haven't seen any benefit. Maybe there is. I haven't heard about it though. Yeah, I haven't heard about it. A lot of the times there is much more nutrients, generally speaking, much more nutrients in food at the time you cook it, and the longer you wait, the nutrients start decreasing and decreasing more and more. That's generally speaking. But they have these concept of like flash freeze. You know what they do with like fruits and vegetables? You'll see like fruits and vegetables that are frozen in the freezers. They usually flash freeze them. So that the nutrients usually they technically still remain. That's, at least they say that. So that's like a cheaper alternative for individuals that can't buy the fresh fruits and vegetables. You can use that for like smoothies. Obviously, you can't like cook stuff with that, but you can use that for smoothies. It'll come in handy there. No. Yeah, bismillah.
So would you consider like canned food, like canned tuna or like canned meat?
Yeah, there's a time and place for it, I would say. The question, sorry, let me repeat the question so the sisters can hear. Canned foods, whether it's beans, whether it's, you said tuna, yeah, there's a time and place for it. I would see, it might be okay. But honestly, when you can easily get the non-preservative, the preservative-free version, because a lot of them, they're loaded with salt, right? They're loaded with salt to be able to preserve it. You gotta be careful with that, right? You gotta be careful with that. Every now and then, okay, the asl of the ingredient is okay, but it's when they add these other things to preserve it, that's the issue that I have usually with it. So it wouldn't be an optimal choice, but it's still much better than, going to McDonald's or something, So much better than that. No.
So what are the harms of
Sugar,
sugar?
oh, don't get me started on sugar. Sugar, I mean, we can go. That's a whole topic on its own. Yeah? Sugar, I mean, sugar. I'm assuming when you talk about sugar, you're talking about refined sugars. Yeah, you're talking about refined because we otherwise all of the fruits that we eat and the honey and everything, that's sugar as well, right? So when we're talking about this aspect of refined sugar, that has been genetically modified to the nth degree to allow us to have this taste and this release of it feels good, so I'm going to have more of it. I mean, the list for that is honestly, it's never ending. Whether it's inflammation, whether it's chronic disease, whether it's affecting the memory, whether it's affecting your weight, I mean, it's a never ending list. There is zero benefit in refined sugar, zero. I don't know if anybody will say that there's a khas benefit in that type of sugar. There's a benefit in sugar, but it's just not refined sugar. Not in refined sugar, but other sugars, by all means, you enjoy it. And a lot of people love sweets, and I'll indicate towards, for them to, okay, you can have these types of sweets. There are chocolate bars that you can enjoy. There are other, besides fruits, there are other, sweets that you can enjoy as well. The Muslims, I've even seen, baklavas, for example. We all love our baklavas as well. Shout out to the Arabs, mashallah. So we love that as well. So there are healthy versions of that as well. Okay, that are sweetened with either honey or sweetened with agave nectar. There are options. We just have to look for them. But honestly, to answer your question simply, there's no benefit in refined sugars. I wouldn't come close to the 10-foot pole.
Do you recommend pure fruit cake?
Me personally, I've seen some doctors mention that's better, but even if there is mashkuk there, I still stay away from it, because why go to that when you have your honey, when you have your maple syrup, when you have other options that we know for a fact are healthier. That's why I don't even dab with that mashkuk stuff, that doubtful stuff. No, that's just me personally though. No, yes. How many days in Ramadan we're talking about? So how many days or hours should we spend in doing physical activity? I don't necessarily say gym, because physical activity could be, besides, see like the farmers, mashallah, that farmer's strength that they have, they're not at the gym, right? They're not at the gym, but they have strength, and much more strength than us. Where do they get that strength? Because they're physically active every day. Their job is just being physically active, yes? So if our job does not make us physically active, then we have to take out the time for that. And a minimum, I would say, of at least 3 times a week. Yeah, a minimum of at least 3 times a week. And if you're somebody that, this is I'm talking very general here, right? I'm assuming individual that doesn't have any injuries, doesn't have any other issues, then they can do like 3 full body workouts 3 times a week. That would be, optimal. As opposed to doing, I'm going to do arms today, then tomorrow I'm going to do legs, and then the day after that I'm going to do back, then after that I'm going to do biceps, then I'm going to you're going to be at the gym every single day because you're doing like one body part. So you're doing like one muscle. So it all depends on what your goal is. That's why I always, this is one of the questions that I always ask the first day of the appointment is, what is your goals? Short-term goals and long-term goals. If one of your short-term goals is to lose weight, okay, then I'll give you a different regimen. If one of your long-term goals is just to be active, then we talk differently. So it all depends on what your goals are. Based upon that, but minimal is that individuals should have at least 3 days a week where they have some aspect of vigorous activity. It's not just for the kids, it's for us as well, right? It's for us, the adults as well. We need to have some aspect of physical activity as well. Yeah. Ji. Yeah. Because our health is expensive, right? Our body is expensive, mashallah, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this ni'mah of health. So I only say to put things that I know will be beneficial for you, right? Not that will be quote unquote beneficial for our wallet. Now, temporarily. These canola oils, a lot of these hydrogenated oils, they're cheap. There's a reason why they're cheap, right? There's a reason why they're cheap. And they came out in the last, 100 or so years. Some of them, I was listening to a functional medicine doc just a few days ago. They said that the purpose that they created some of these oils, you know what the reason was? Is so that they can lube the machinery. That was the purpose of it, to lube machines. I was like, are you kidding me? And then they thought like, oh, it looks very similar to the oil that we use in food, so let's just, try to sell it out there. And lo and behold, the FDA allowed it, right? They allowed it. So, yeah, I didn't talk. I generally mentioned, you completely stay away from these hydrogenated oils or partially hydrogenated oils, because there's no faida for them. There's no faida. We talk about heart disease, especially within the Desi community, heart issues. We don't talk about hardening of the arteries. This isn't my field. You can talk to your cardiologist, and I've talked to them as well, and they'll mention the same thing. They'll mention the same thing in terms of paying attention to what type of food and what type of oils that you use. Because long term, it's going to have an impact. Long term and short term, it will have an impact. Whether these canola oils or these vegetable oils, and I don't know. I don't use them. So only time we use them is for like projects, for the kids' projects at school. It's the only time we use them. Besides that, not for the ingredients in our food. Grapeseed? I'll have to check on grapeseed oil. I can't recall off the top of my head. Yeah, it's by that. Achha. Yeah, I don't recall off the top of my head. Butter, yes, ghee, right? Butter, ghee. These are great. Yeah. So what is good to obviously have, I was talking about, I don't have the slide right now, but healthy fats. So your butter, your ghee would be great for that. Now, it all depends on what you're cooking too, right? It all depends. You can't just straight up put like coconut oil in everything. It's not going to taste good. Okay, you can't just put avocado oil in everything. It's not going to taste good. So it kind of really depends. Like, what you making brownies, you making cookies, what are you making? And then, only then will you decide on which healthy oil or which healthy food item you'll take. No. Yes or no? Because they drink a lot of chai? So the question the brother asked is, how would we kind of control our caffeine intake in Ramadan? Because, mashallah, they have caffeine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's Ramadan, right? We're going to go through some struggles, right? We're going to be fasting 17 hours, 18 hours. But it's at that time we want to make, if we're going to be fasting, we want to be able to make a change that we know is going to be beneficial for us short-term and long-term. And if that means cutting down the chai from 3 to 1, you try doing that, right? Because you talk about it affecting their being tired. What does caffeine do? What does caffeine do? Does it make you fresh? People think that makes them fresh, but what does it really do? Huh? Die? Huh? Diabetic? Yeah, it doesn't make you fresh. It just blocks that signal to tell you that you feel fresh, but in actuality, your body's tired, but in your mind, it gives you that boost that, oh, I'm actually fresh. I got energy from my chai. Well, I don't know about that one, right? I don't know if you got energy from your chai. You just blocked the signal to tell you that your body's actually tired. No? I don't got anything, against caffeine, but again, in moderation and when you need it. Yeah? For example, green tea has caffeine too, right? Green tea has caffeine too. But again, you need it when you need it, right? There are certain times where there's actually benefit for these things. No? Coffees, same thing. I mean, there's a time and place for it. You have 1 cup, okay, fine. There's a possibility of dealing with that. But when that's impacting, when that chai and that caffeine or that coffee is impacting your sleep, then that's going to be detrimental to your health, right? Because people think that the caffeine or the chai or whatever is actually making them or allowing them to stay awake. But in reality, it's not. Right? In reality, it's ruining their recovery. What we talked about, جَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ سُبَاتًا, right? It's ruining that deep sleep that we get. Because a lot of times, I know young individuals, who just started drinking caffeine, and they're having sleep issues. I was like, why are you having sleep issues? Why are you having sleep issues? Oh, I drink 2 cups of chai and 3 cups of, coffee. What are you doing? What are you doing drinking that much? It feels good, it tastes good, or, my classmates are doing it, or somebody else is doing it. Why are you doing that? You don't even need it. You young, you're healthy, mashallah. You're young, you're healthy. I understand people doing it, once a day or once in a while, just, they're out with friends, okay. But every day doing that to your body? Come on, right? So it's going to definitely impact your overall level of energy, okay? And when you cut it out, it's going to be an initial shock to the body. But I've known individuals, I've talked to patients where they've told me that they cut out, caffeine for the whole month of Ramadan. I didn't even ask them to. They cut it out themselves, and they always say that I feel the greatest. I feel like I have the most energy then. Yeah? So we think we have to just try certain things, right? Certain things we just have to try. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a lot of flexibility within our body. It's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of mechanisms Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created within the body when we try it and we see the benefit of it. So. Okay? Say it again. Yeah, the white rice versus brown rice. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? On this one, on the slide, where so the same thing. The white rice, they remove 2/3 of the product, right? So it's very modified. It's very modified. It's very genetically modified. So that impacts obviously the quality of the food. That impacts how much calories you're getting, how much carbs you're getting. That impacts how much you're going to eat. So that's why I always recommend individuals to have some type of rice that is in an actual whole grain form. Okay, when it's in its actual whole grain form, then you're getting the faida of the entire grain, as opposed to just one aspect of it. You understand what I'm saying? The other rice is tasty. For me, the brown rice is tasty. I can't do without it anymore, right? I can't do without it. I mean, like that, the thick, chewy nature for me, I can't do without that. Now, when I have white rice, I'm like, what is this? What in the world am I eating? Huh? Feels like I'm eating like baby food. It's like baby food for me. I like that. You want to feel your food. Yeah, actually, that chewy nature, it has that. Now, it took some time to obviously get used to it. Didn't have it overnight, but the thicker one, huh? Yeah. That one, yeah. MashaAllah. Okay? Yeah, bismillah.
So would it be good for that to take food for Tarawih?
Oh, good. Are you leading Tarawih?
No.
Oh, okay. So the young man, mashallah, he asked, is it good or bad to eat food before Tarawih? You have an iftar, right? You have an iftar, huh? So just you enjoy your iftar, inshallah. Enjoy your iftar, and you're going to be working out, right? I mean, you're going to be standing up for Tarawih. So you enjoy your food to the point where you're not so sleepy, right? Not so tired, and you can't even pray Tarawih. You've eaten too much if you're, everybody can hear you in Tarawih. If everybody can hear you in Tarawih, then we know we've eaten too much. We've eaten a little bit too much. So it all boils down to the quality as well, right? So you enjoy the food, but enjoy the quality as well, right? You have good quality ingredients, inshallah, then you can enjoy kulu washrabu, right? Kulu washrabu. Everybody always loves to talk about kulu washrabu, but enjoy it with kulu min at-tayyibat. We were, inshallah. Yeah, one last inshallah. Say it one more time. Healthy? Salt. Yeah, so there's different types of salts that you'll come across. Whether it's sea salt or whether it's the what's the other one? The Himalayan salt, right? From the mountains. So anytime you can get it from the original source without it being unrefined, whether it's sea salt or whether it's the Himalayan salt, that would be ideal. Okay, that would be ideal. So anytime you can get it in its original form without it being refined, so unrefined, that would be ideal. There's probably many products out there now that have it, since a lot of people try eating healthier food. But yeah, you'll be able to find that, inshallah. Yeah. No.
What about MSG?
MSG. What do we do with MSG?
Chinese food or that kind of cuisine might be around meat.
Yeah. I mean, this is where it comes, where we have to always ask, right? We have to ask the owners. We have to ask, even in brown rice, right? In these things, we have to ask, where is the source? Where is the source of these foods? Just seeing that, it's brown rice, that's not sufficient, because it can have arsenic in it. It can have other things in it. So we have to see where the source is. And until we verify the source, this is something we should just put into our body. Because once we think of food as medicine, then we'll consider, right? We don't just do you just take, I'll just take my Abu's medicine. It looks good, right? It tastes good. I'll just take it. We don't do that with medicine, right? It's the same thing with our food. We need to think of it as medicine. Once you think of it as medicine, then we're going to really consider every single ingredient that we put. So we always have to call, just like how we call, a restaurant, and we see, are you halal or not? Do you have hand-slaughtered meat or not? Do you have this, X, Y, and Z? You need to look at what they serve as well on the menu, no? And the quality of those foods. And I'll end with this because it's getting a little bit late. People talk about, vegans. Vegans. Don't get started on a vegan Eid. He's going to be slaughtering broccoli as opposed to sacrificing the sheep or the lamb or the goat. There are certain things that there are certain benefits that you get from meat that you cannot get in your vegan diet. And there are certain things, obviously, from vegetables that you cannot get in meat. But there is a reason why the Prophet ﷺ had both. If it was going to be detrimental to us, then it would have been mentioned in Wahi. Okay, so there's a benefit, and all of those studies that talk about, this meat is bad, they did the study comparing the vegan diet with the omnivore diet, with this meat diet, and look at the results that they had. You have to, first of all, I realize after reading many statistics and much data, you can't just take the abstract from the data on face value. You have to look at every little nitty-gritty detail. Who funded the study? That's number one. No? Did they have any connection with it? Okay. What was the quality of meat that they actually used? Was it McDonald's meat? Which is, I don't even know how much of that is even meat. Yeah? What type of meat did they use? The quality of it. So this is all things that we have to take into consideration when we're looking at statistics as well. This one.
MSG. So what about MSG? Is it bad?
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. So you.
Bad. Then why is it so commonly used and FDA doing it? If it is really bad, then how come it is so commonly used and FDA is doing the thing about it?
They allow worse things, right? They allow. There are certain things that they allow that aren't allowed even in like the UK. For example, they have like Doritos and Fritos or whatever some of these chips they sell. But the government over there, the people over there, the citizens over there, they were loud, and they said that we don't want these ingredients in our chips or in our products. So now, if you compare like the Doritos, I didn't have it on this slide, but next time inshallah, they compared the ingredients of the same product, same like Doritos or whatever, ranch, and the American version versus the UK version. The American version had like 3 or 4 lines of more or ingredients than the UK version did. Why? Because the FDA didn't care about it. They don't care about it. They allowed it. But over there, they didn't allow it. They didn't allow it because they saw the detriment that it has to one's health. So unless we need to speak up, we need to make noise. Then once people see that it's impacting their financial, their finances, then they'll make a change. Otherwise, they're like, oh, can you tell me if this is halal? Yeah, it's a halal. Okay, oh, that's enough for me. I'll eat my Takis now. Right? No, that's not enough. For we have to be loud in terms of this. In terms of this, like how we protest, in terms of other things in life, we also have to speak up for the foods that your kids eat, that you eat yourself. We have to do that. No, so they're just because the FDA allows it, that's not wahi based, right? They're not wahi based. Organic isn't something that's wahi based. They have their pitfalls as well. They have their mistakes that they make as well. It's not an end all be all type of thing. I'm not going to just say all organic is going to be considered tayyib and so just eat everything organic. You can find an organic Oreo. I'm not going to tell you to eat that, right? Organic, some Gatorade. I'm not going to tell you to eat that and drink that. So there's a lot of things that they allow. Many things are based off of money funding, so they'll allow it. The FDA will allow it. And these are some things that they don't want you to know of, but we have to, as Muslims, we have to dig down and dig deep and find out what truly is organic and what truly is GMO or has MSG or whatever the case may be. That's our job to figure that out. So we move beyond, as we're talking about. We got to move beyond just checking if it's halal. We got to check if it's tayyib. That's our job as Muslims. No. Huh? Now it's getting very individual based. So that's what I'm saying. So that's individual answer, right? Well, like which meat is preferred. That's very individualized. So for some individuals, it might be preferred for them to go more chicken. For other individuals, they can enjoy both. For other individuals, it might be strictly fish. They might have allergic reactions, or they might not know that they have a reaction to some of these meats because they've had it their whole life. So that's when over here, what I'm just talking about is the general principles. Right? There's always going to be nitty-gritty details for specific individuals, inshallah. We'll stop with that, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for everybody attending. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Oh yeah. Control